We can, because we have enough natural resources to develop. What we need is that quality leadership that I was talking about, that selfless leadership that is going to give us the direction that the nation needs to move into. There is no country that I know of that has developed because of IMF or World Bank in Congole. None. If anything, those countries get poorer and poorer and poorer. No matter how you sweeten it, no matter how you say it's free, there is no free lunch, there is no free money. Somewhere along the line, they'll get you. Remember, these are institutions that have been in existence for much longer than we have. They know how to play their tricks. So you must read between the lines, those thin lines, and understand exactly what they mean. But getting to develop without incurring a debt. If we were a nation that did not have copper, that did not have gold, emerald, cobalt, that did not have the rosewood, mukula, the rivers that we have, the fish that we have, I would be in very big doubt as to whether we could develop. But I'm telling you now that it is how we marry our human capital and our natural resources together with very good policies, very good visionary policies, that we begin to make money without borrowing. The important thing with these Brentwood organizations or the developed countries basically is, do you have something that they don't have, but they need? And the answer is yes. We have our minerals. I gave you an example in 1973 when the Arabs were convinced to start selling oil in dollars. You never heard, even up to today, the Arab world tell the United States or any other country that needs its oil in Europe to say you're going to have a tax holiday here. They know that that's their biggest resource, the oil. So when you have a mineral such as copper, or indeed cobalt, emerald, or gold in Zambia, and you give tax holidays, the thing that is supposed to give you the money, the thing that is supposed to give you the dollars, Ekomoya pay a tax holiday. Are you thinking straight? And then you tell Zambians, no, but you must pick up yourselves and work hard. Work hard against what? This government has got everything upside down. We should not give tax holidays on the thing that is supposed to earn us the foreign exchange. That is how you get out of debt without borrowing. You give them things that they don't have, things that they need for their industries. Right now they're talking about to come electric cars. 3/4 of that is copper. The wiring, the what, cobalt for the batteries, manganese for the batteries. We've got those things here. What are they doing? No policy direction. You simply say, no, we have to borrow. Borrow what? Because the amount of taxes that the mines can pay, this 1.3 billion, we don't need. If we're really serious, we don't need. If we go and do our research and say just along the Mumbwa gold belt, Mumbwa, or just Rufunsa here, and you say, how much gold do we have as reserves? Get the geologists to go there, do their studies, and they tell you this gold, according to our studies, rock formation and whatever they do, we can mine this for the next 100 years. And the amount of gold here is worth so much. Take that report. Are you honestly telling me if you go to some stock exchange, you can't get investors to bring you that gold, that dollar that you want here? You can. It's the kind of thinking that you must get outside the box. Not this kind of thinking we're seeing in this government. Tatwakanonkena our government. Buchushu. And the reason is, these guys were yambanechi busa. Nabale tuivila. Mwebena Zambia. U take off wesu wari yambanechi busa. Naba muisa. Abe shira mkutu wibide ifshe tuwako atamuno mzambi. Wale iwo mkuba, tabale lipila tax. Wale iwa gold, tabale lipila tax. Cobalt, manganese, na emerald, tabale lipila tax. Because ama tax holidays kuma mines. How do you do that? So it is possible to have this nation develop without debt, except we have to have a leadership that is selfless, a leadership that is determined to ensure that whatever it puts out as policy is for the benefit of the poorest of the poor in Zambia, not for the rich. No.
Okay. All right. Now, to an extent, this government feels attacked by you, Mr. President, to a point where a few days ago, the UPND party spokesperson, Cornelius Moitwa, speaking in Livingston,
yes,
did say, I'll spill the beans if KBF continues attacking the government on why he was not given a cabinet ministerial position. How do you react to that threat coming through from Honorable Cornelius Moitwa?
I feel sorry for my young brother. Moitwa is caught in the crossroads. I don't want to be attacking him every day. I think I spoke enough about Cornelius. But let me say this. They have lied to the Zambian people. They've put out a scenario that I took money, some 800,000. I accounted for that 800,000. I challenged the people that I gave money to deny. They haven't denied. Nobody has come here or to you to say, no, that Mr. Bware didn't give us money. I did. And the people I gave money were their members. They are candidates. They are not my candidates. So why should I pay for them? I explained that money. The next reason, if there's any spilling of beans that Moitwa is going to talk about, is going to allege that I went to DEC and I took files. That's another narrative that they're throwing around, that I walked into DEC and took files of some people. Are you mad? Moitwa is a lawyer like me. Can I walk into a government institution and take files out of an institution? Which I challenge Moitwa. Spill the beans, Moitwa. Moitwa na kupapata. Na papata, spill the beans, apapene so. Spill the beans. Don't keep the people on tenterhooks like pariofio kwete parine, tapariofio kwete. Don't lie. There is nothing. Here to the Zambians. Wewe na Zambia, Mungu mfuikishe please na papata. I have never been a councillor. I have never been an MP. I have never been a minister rather. I have never held a government portfolio. Nshatala kwa tapo government contract. So ine nshatala iwapo na nguchimo. There is nothing that the UPND and in particular Moitwa, Cornelius, can bring against me, which you should be worried about that Imbiwa President there is nothing. And I challenge him. But let me sound a warning to Moitwa. I know him. And between you and me, because you're my young brother, he has come in my inbox to apologize. No, Mdalama politics fiaya. Mwila sakamana. Ofa tulanda fepa bantu. Uilaranda paline. You've got a lot of things to talk about. Don't talk about me. I'll show you the messages. I'm not lying. I've got him talking to me in my inbox, apologizing and saying, no, Mdala na papata, let's not fight. And he wants to talk to me. He's telling me now, when he said about this thing about the beans, I said to him, Moitwa, why are you hesitating? Spill the beans. He says, no, Bakalambama politics. In fact, in Desa Kulusa Kapa weekend, Tukese land. He wants to meet me. Now, because of this continuous thing, I don't trust him anymore. I don't trust him. If you want to sound big because you're answering questions, or you want to sound like Wadigwa Defin to Padine, Inshallah, UPND, Moitwa. I don't want to be a member of the UPND. I never asked that I join UPND. Mwe na Zambia, ina nshifua yo kujoin aba UPND. Nshaba join inepo, nshakaba join inepo. That is why na pangile chirongani no chandi. So what do they want from me? What is true is this. The UPND is very angry. They are very disappointed that I've left them. Because Muriano mbatamulia bakotaba kucha emingalato. Ama strategist tamuli mulia. Wale punka na femi tokwat na kadimona bakolo. They have nothing to offer the Zambians. Nothing. That is why I said this UPND alliance is dead. I challenge them. Half of those people they call presidents at the council table. Mashala neka pate iliana imwe. But yeah, most of the presidents, but which people do they have? That's the same thing they wanted to think I had. They thought in Chakwatabantu. I have asked them, wait for 2026. If I told you for Tuomba, wait for 2026. Kusolwezinga mlengu mfwa. Kumufulira, kuchingola, kuchira bombwe, kukopala, mwalisho for Tuomba. Wonze mwe wale mfwa kuli bingi, mwalisho for Tuomba. Wait for 2026. Abatu ala balanga show. Eyo tabata la ishiva. Eyo tabata la monapo. Wakadabwa. Na mwitwa wine. In fact, mwitwa, because of what you have done, I'm throwing you a challenge. Therefore, women in Muchoma na kambi. I'm bringing a candidate there for you. Ukamona, ukashana pelete mwachawandi. Tawanjishu.
Let me get to read some of the comments coming through via Facebook. Jay Samungula says, even the US has debt. It is how you use that debt. And then Bakandile PF, whom you were part of, use the debt to buy fancy personal items instead of investing that money in productive ventures. What do you make of Jay's opinion to say even the US accrues debts?
Yes, that's a very important question, and I hope, Jay, you allow me to enjoy answering that question. Please try and understand what the US debt is actually. Mungu mfuikishasana Jay and others who don't understand. The difference between any African country or third world country owing a debt to the IMF or the World Bank and the US having a debt is that America does not need to pay its debt. Please listen to me very carefully. America does not need to pay its debt in any other currency. It borrows in its currency. So when they need money, they'll just print it. It's their money. Look, America has tricked the world for a very long time that they actually have a debt. They don't have a debt. Who are they going to pay it to? It's like a king who has money with his face on the money. And then you say, it's his money. That is why they went to the Arabs and made them start buying oil in dollars so that they could have debt in dollars. That is why they've come here, for us to have this dollar in debt, because you need whatever you need to buy the dollar. You need to sell something to them in dollars. They will not pay back that debt because nindala mashavo vavula pofie. Please get this in your heads, okay? Vavula pofie. Yes, they'll write it in their books that indala matuwomfeshinishi and they'll calculate it as debt, but it's not real debt. And that debt is different from the debt you and I are having here. Let me give you another example so that you get it. The last 8 months, the war in Ukraine has been raging. We all know that. We've been following. America and Europe, combined perhaps, if not more, have put into Ukraine $50 to $60 billion of arms support into Ukraine. Imamo aikala 1 year mulepa patilaka 1.3 billion. Answer that question. Why? That is how they value you. Now, if you as an African, if you as a Zambian in particular, don't wake up to the reality that somewhere along the line, this world is not fair, you will never think. That is why you need the leadership that we are providing to open your minds and make you realize that you have to think outside the box. You will never be treated as equals at the economic table. But as long as you have something that they need, e.g., gold, copper, cobalt, emeralds, manganese, and other minerals, you've got something to sell. If you can produce cocoa, you can produce cotton, tobacco, they'll come here because they need those raw materials to keep running. That is where you catch them. That is where your negotiating power comes in. Now, if you don't realize that, and you keep saying America has got debt, America doesn't need to pay that debt. You do, because of the terms and conditions they make you sign to. So you got to wake up, my brother. Wake up, Vajena mi papata. Don't look at yourself and compare yourself to America. You're not America. That debt America has is not in kwacha. If it was in kwacha, you and me would be smiling.
Let me get a few calls now on 0960-200-490. All right. So here we go with our very first caller. You're through to chat back.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Is that Vashimalan? Okay, please go ahead, Vashimalan.
Mkwai ndio mtendi wa Shimalani.
Nomba ine mkumanape kwa njua politician kumitrati na ine na yeka mlandu wa kwewa imwele ni mwa KBF mwaliko telepo BPF baka bolala UPNG yaka ine rifyo amuli mwapele abantu kwewa ibe akuvotera HS mwebeni nomba ile rwesi abipashani so tia kwewa nangu mulela ndefi ya kwewa chani mwala ndefi mchalo muli uchushi nomba abalengera UPNG epike mwebeni mwakose BPF bakabolana uteko bukabolana etete ngaita akawamifi mwebeni mwalitele konte mwaleya lelo mwapi bukafuti mulando kwebati yo lechecha ibipashani so ba politician mutwetela fifu yenani amafia so amafia yontia yenani yabena Zambia kupita mu nimweba mulegere kwebati mwaitontere kwebati ochitenisi. It's like abana wali kwata abana ero wabeba umuliro oyo ikatapu ero wamukuta ushati yo cyane mamone so ubuchushi bonso bwo mu Zambia era ngure tikeno shya icon kublema yechechi ndi blema imwebeni wa KBF mweba kuteri na group yenu kweba yo UPND they we know abena Zambia bonse boteni ba yechechi so ukwafya bonse shinga mchitikala imwe shomulera ndikweba yo ilenga nakanga nena awu mamurefu afibukati kuba kwa nemumkete mukulya bwino mukete mwakala bwino ngati icyamirengo kwe bati mushiraka indo mwareka penina mupange tulonganiro cyo icheno utungoshi murefu aya so ifawe na Zambia mlatwanga shafi bola numba uyaisa apanto so ifyo mulera ndevyo imwe akusupport nife aka inde ya then ani pestaida omale support lero mwemupata atipashani kom.
Okay, thank you, Vashimalan. Yes, sir. How do you respond to Vashimalan's question?
Vashimalan na totally appreciate you. Ndefo kumwipusha kona ine. Ushenga mwaingira mmakwebo no muneno ati muchite business. Elo muneno wapisha po buchenjeshi. Mwakula hii kalafia ati yo pantu tuwali umfwene. Vashimalan. Va UPND ababe ni muleba ati support ine batile amashu inashirela ndoko kopa belt mule tumina ngeko mule tumina tapali efe na lechita va UPND batile va winina ma elections ukwabula uwafuirisha okufuma ku muntu wonse ba mubene obene va UPND so if you mulela ndati ne wona lenga va UPND tabasumile according to them ba wina ma election beka mulete shanga balelanda mwilasa fe parade panna ba mpela katungo ya tumwise mulande tefo chaba Vashimalani ine ngatwa umana akapi. I am very straightforward. Ndefo munkutike ngatwa umana akapi Vashimalani. I am very straightforward. But umuntu ushitasha umuntu wakaso ine nshimufwaye especially echo mwene bushekwena nangu twali umfwene before the elections ngana isa mona mwobuvi ububola muri HH nkani okulanda pantu twali umfwene kwateni amanu Vashimalani na imwe mwaiwela mofeno kuiwela nangu feni pali friendship kula bokupusana nangu feni mufiyupo kula bokupusana what more politics na bomfeshe ndala mashandi na bomfeshe myoto kashandi na bomfeshe pate yandi ukwafwa HH nshilekana but na kano ko bati efe na chitire tafyamu afuire so mulefu anchiteshana ndemi pusha Vashimalani mulefu anchiteshani because na bakana ba UPND atu bawinileweka so nga bawinileweka balekeni blame them, don't blame me. Ubu chushi mwasumina jomo buli muchalo, which means leadership has failed. So tuika lefye pantu twalimu vika po pachambaso ama politics Vashimalani ufo yaba nga mwawika po muntu mwanfuane efikomo mwana twala bomba so twala ikala so twala sunga bina kyalo so but ambo kulufyanya inenjikalirire fyatyo pantu twali mfweni akale tefyo fibombe fya ma politics ne defe na fishiba ababa UPND bebere ati bawini ama elections weka so natu bapela ka throughbo teni nabo if not kwata vision ili very different kuli ba UPND na mwakonge fe tulela ndapo na pusana ne fora ndaba UPND ndefa mungu mfuikishe so imwe nga mwalisumi na muli eche chakumusupporteni ine nshimwene mu obuyo abantu bale chula njikale nde support amachushi kyakana ndi mwina Kristo ero no kupela fye bashimala ni kupela giving is a gift tete umuntu ole kwa fya no look into the future. Which future ngatapari kumwewo muntu ati mwana future inenshile imona. Why? Because nshimwenepo leadership itunturu, nshimwenepo direction itunturu, nshimwenepo vision chimono wanshitule konka na chimwebo ko twachibampiroko elo bachira ndipshama question. The biggest problem to kwete muri chino chala is we're lacking credible, proper, selfless, sincere leadership. Every popano no maimenga tamuchimwene cho I can't help you. It's the blind leading the blind. Ako konkeni inani nkana pantu ni mbona mobubi elo nderefu kweba tabena Zambia bapusaneko na imo bashimalani mwewe na Zambia mwewe le chula ngaine na babululu bandi na bambi abashikwete parikano kashita na mwishu babalengeri amachusha ayo kweba tiyese mwalaika la pofye nde muipusha bashimala ninga balefo okuikalira na bekale mu machushi ifu watia ni kukena ni tufume mu machushi tusha chi Egypt na tufumamo songa chamukalipa bashimala na chimukalipe. I am sorry, I can't help you na dotela mkwae.
All right, let me get the next caller, 0960200490, and then I'll be able to read text messages as well coming through via Facebook Live. That is 0960200490. All right, here we go. Our next caller. You're through to the program.
Good morning, Lorenzo.
Yes, good morning. Please go ahead with your contribution.
And good morning to the person.
Good morning, sir.
I just want to ask a question. Because if it were you, you against the IMF program, and if it were you, who was the leader now? What difference can you do so that guy is out of bed? It's like you go in a bank. If a certain bank said today that if you want to get a loan, there will be no interest. I'm sure there will be chaos in banks. So what is a problem? They give you money and then they say there will be no interest on it. I'm sure. And you're going to pay back a good certain period of time. So, if it were you, what other way would have been used so that Zambia is back on course? We are debt-free nation, and because it's like in a home, if I'm putting debt, you could contain debt, don't be in the house. So, in which way can you advise the government? Which proper way can you say as that we are through out of economic purpose? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Frederick. Mr. President, how would you respond to Frederick? How differently would you have done things? That's his question.
Frederick, I am very grateful for this question. First of all, you gave an example of a bank giving you money interest-free. And you say that there will be a lot of queues for people to get this free money. My brother, let me say this. There is no free money in the world. Let's get this out of our heads. There is no free money. There are always conditions attached. No matter how good the conditions look to you, somewhere, somehow, there will be a catch. That's point number one. Point number two. If the bank says so dalama, they shouldn't tell me how to use the money, because nine won't plan dalama to get out of debt. This is not what the IMF is doing. The IMF is giving this money to Zambia, this so-called bailout to Zambia, but it's directed to consumption, social cash transfer, which they say will, harmonize, reduce some of our suffering of the poor. Why should they tell me where to take the money? Afraid. If you don't know that, then you're already in trouble, because that condition tells you how to use the money. I can't go to a bank, I've got a business plan, and I say, this is what I want to do. Then the bank says, yeah, we'll give you the money, it's for free, but you can't use it for your business plan. For this. That is not getting you out of debt, it's putting you in debt. You're going to suffer, my brother. Unless they give you the money and say it's free to Akupela 10 years, then you bring back the money. But how you use this money, we're not going to be involved. Aha! Then we'll be talking. That's not what the IMF is doing. They've come here and they say remove subsidies on electricity, remove subsidies on oil, remove subsidies on this. Meanwhile, don't put subsidies on, fertilizer, which is going to be used in production. So fertilizer is going to go up, fuel is going to go up, electricity is going to go up. How are you going to get out of debt? Frederick, how are you going to get out of debt? Those conditions, whether they are sweet, soft, or whatever, they are going to cripple this economy. The real question is, you're asking me, how would you have done it differently? First of all, I would not have borrowed. I would not have gotten this IMF money. I would have gone to restructure the debt by renegotiating the loans that are existing with each individual creditor. We have enough mineral resources here which we can put up as collateral. That should be a starting point. Because nanguna yaku banki wa Fred bale pusha ulefu wa 5 million kwacha. Now what a collateral to support this. I'll say, yes, I've got a house. What is the value of this house? No, it's worth 10 million. Okay, vikapa. Then let's talk, because now we can discuss with you. So are you honestly telling me the gold that we have in this country, in the earth of Zambia, not in Venezuela, not in Brazil, not in America, in Zambia, gold twakwata ukasensele, kumumbwa, kurufunza na kulundazi, is worth nothing. It is raw gold, but it is worth something, Frederick. The copper that we have on the copper belt and the extension now in Northwestern province, the copper iliku Northwestern, are you telling me it's worth nothing? Tutampio kutontonkanya differently, outside the box. Those are the things we should say. Ninkwatechi, and I have so much water, I have so much wood or forest. Can I negotiate using my natural resources for you to leave me up to a certain point and reduce some of this debt? Some of these countries, Frederick, are willing to come in here and enter into contracts with the government where they work together with the government. For example, go to 50-50. Get a country or a company and say to Allah Wombela 50-50. Government will take 50%, the investor will take 50%. Some of them can even take 20% depending on the negotiations. And we say 80% twakula senda. Today in Congole, 20% wakula wula moyue as part of your investment. We've got enough equity in natural resources. We just don't realize it. Problem twakwatama leaders tukwete wala tina basungu. Ngabaya pa negotiation table wale tutuma. They don't bargain for the Zambians. Huh? When you go to akutuma ko America, go ku Switzerland, ku Germany, when you go there, remember where you're coming from and who you're representing. I have said this before and I shall repeat. The IMF and the World Bank gets money from individual families, individuals who've got money. They lend these institutions. So if you negotiate properly and say, I'm representing 20 million Zambians, and if I do this, they'll suffer. They'll listen. If not, go and negotiate with companies. Go and negotiate with the countries which we owe money directly. What would be wrong with us to go to China and say, President Xi, not kwata mafia. But we know that China needs the copper. So can we agree that China will get copper from us, but Ishinkongole Funyeniko? What would be wrong with that? You must think outside the box. That's how differently I would have negotiated this thing. But not to say, Njemu Kongola 1.3 billion with conditions which my older brother Msokotwane failed to sweeten to me when I listened to his interview. These are problems for me. Huh? We must always get away from this debt. But the methods we're using are the wrong methods. I'm sorry, my brother.
All right. Esther Banda via Facebook Live says, good morning, Mr. President. Lorenzo kindly ask Mr. Wanye for me if he sees the UPND being able to dismantle our national debt. Secondly, what is his say on the fight against corruption? Mr. President.
Madam Esther Banda, thank you for the questions. UPND capable of dismantling our debt? I don't think so. Not in the manner they are going. No, in fact, we're going to get into more debt. You don't borrow for consumption, my sister. Mwebe na Zambia, takwa wokshita borrow to eat. Because when the money finishes, wadia, you still need to produce something which you need to sell. Munkutike. If we were borrowing for production, I would have supported the government. But right now, I don't see anything on the table in the terms and conditions that is related to production. That is the problem I have. Corruption. Corruption, my sister, is a cancer. It's a very serious problem, not just in Zambia, in Africa, but also in the world. Corruption is a cancer. But here's a question. If you have a leadership that spends 3/4 of its time just thinking of who the next person they are going to arrest because he was in the previous government is, then that is not a fight against corruption. That is being vindictive. To me, corruption, MUPF, omoyari. And I spoke against it. And I'll still speak against it. But there is corruption even now in UPND. I've got facts. I've got figures. And at an appointed time, I shall speak about it. But right now, tulebatam. So corruption, yes, it's bad. But if you have ZPPA, for example, cancelling the fertilizer deal and saying on technicalities, when we had an agriculture minister in parliament saying everything is okay, tapai nefia corruption, nefia shala, my sister, just know something is wrong. Something is wrong. So corruption, I will not agree that it should be part of any government system. But you must put in systems to fight that corruption. And corruption as a fight, my sister, is not just about changing the personnel. No. I thank the chairperson of the Anti-Corruption Commission, my young brother, State Counsel Musa Mwenye. He's sitting there as chairperson. I'm sure he's trying to put in systems now. And I trust Musa. He's level-headed. The Director General, another young brother, Gilbert Piri, Counsel. I respect these guys, okay? But if they are going to be working in the same laws, using the same systems, same methods, they will yield nothing. Leadership requires that when you realize a problem, you change the law, change the regulations, change the systems, change the statutes under which you operate, then change the procedure and the approach to corruption. If that won't change, the fight will yield nothing. But I trust that State Counsel Musa Mwenye will think through this. And I know that something may happen, but it may not happen in the short term, maybe in the long term.
Let us get our next caller on the program. Okay, you're through to Chadbak. You're through to... Yes, your name, please. Come again with your name. Collins from the Copper Belt, Kitwe. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I think I support Mr. KBF because there's no way. Why in the children? Then, why chindi chindi ushike chile chindi shila chindi shasha. So you just young Congolese. that is a win. Otherwise, the best they can do is just send that in. Let them send them in the start. Then you share 50-50, it's okay. What do I change that she gets in the session and then you are doing nothing. So I support Mr. KBF. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming through. Let me get another one added on to call in 0960-200-490. 0960-200-490, and we'll really appreciate. We're into the final third of our show. We would appreciate getting as many as we can participating on the program. Okay, so there we go with our next caller. You're through to the program.
Thanks. My name is Brighton Solwezi.
Brighton in Solwezi, please go ahead.
Yes, I just want to thank the European government for the job they are actually doing. We have seen tremendous work being done for the past 1 year. Inflation being brought down from 24 down to 9.7. CGF being dispersed at the right time. Teachers getting employed. Retirees being paid. This really shows that the government is working. HH, keep it up. Don't pay attention to distractors. Continue with what you are doing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming through. Let me get one more before the president can come in. 0960-200-490. That is 0960-200-490. Okay, so it's approximately 10:46 Central African time. So let me try to get another one right on the program. Okay, so there we go with our next caller. You're through to chat back.
Yes, you're speaking to Washbahati on the copper belt.
Come.
I just want to
Name?
say,
Come again.
the president is saying,
Come again with your name. Your name.
You're speaking to Washbahati on the copper belt.
Rashbahati, Kukopa Belt. Okay, please go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'd like to applaud the president on Amapoint and regarding the copper deals, the natural resources that we have as a country. I think he's onto something there because I'm a truck. I have mother copper belt in Gamaleya. There's so much productivity in the country, and yeah. So I support the president, and I would like to ask him also what is his plan if he was voted into the office. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you for coming through. All right. So, Mr. President, how would you respond to the three?
Collins Kitwe, I can only thank him. I think he's listening. Brighton Chewe from Solwezi, he says inflation has dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Does he understand why inflation has dropped? You know, as Zambians, tuilako mkafiama figures. I know figures don't lie, but you must understand the economics behind that inflation dropping. You have basically shrunk the economy by killing consumption. There is nothing. That is why there's no money. Brighton, abopene weekend, I'm challenging you. Pocket. At inflation naipon. Naipona inflation as it you know, it sometimes gives you the notion that even as Brighton sounds educated and a bit civilized, this is the way things like this sound. Because inflation kuti yapona, but is it going to go into your spending power? What is the value of the kwacha today? The woman in the street, the woman who attends church at my church, the woman who attends church Katolika, ku Seventh Day, ku Pentecostal, ngalolesha food basket. Is that inflation speaking to her? Iyo inyolela that night pona Brighton. Honestly, what was the value or the price of cooking oil? My friend, the president, ale imiotuma sachets to cooking oil. Muilash to tuma cooking oil to so tutuka poa. Tupamela tuka poa. Tupamela tu alipwa. Brighton, I'm asking you. You're saying now bomba finish. They've brought hunger, more hunger into the Zambian homes at ndio inflation. Ukalia inflation you. It must transcend into something practical. If the value of the kwacha has improved, it must buy more. Is the kwacha today buying more? What is the price of a 25 kg bag of mini today compared to 1 year ago when they took office? What was the rate of the dollar 1 year ago? What was the price of bread 1 year ago? What was the price of cooking oil 1 year ago? What were the bus fares 1 year ago? What was the price of fuel 1 year ago? Those are indicators. That's how you look at inflation and you transform the nation into an economic hub. Not if you are going to inflation na ipona CDF vali pela. CDF, who has access to CDF? Mkuipisha Brighton. There was a lecture going on a month ago here by the president. He called the councillors and the mayors talking about CDF because the CDF did not have guidelines. There was no policy direction. What CDF are you talking about? How many people? Mwaewa abantu atipangeni ama cooperatives, abantu wapanga ama cooperative. Imitanda ama cooperatives muli chino cha. What have they benefited? In the end, umwana kashina mayo uli mu cooperative mwasa but out of this money you can only take 200. Is that capital? To do what? Ma cooperative mwebela tuwapangi. Mwila angasha wena Zambia. Nangu kulumba muli mufitenge limbi mulumbila kudimwe. Nangu kulumba mufitenge mulete kanyapa kulumba. Ask your relatives, are they enjoying this reduced inflation? The value of the kwacha in their pockets, is it the same as last year? Can that kwacha in their pockets today buy the same amount of goods they used to buy last year? The answer is no. So you tell me how many teachers now are employed. Teachers have been employed. That's not creation of employment. That's filling in vacancies. Abantu abafuire, abali transferred, abali retired. That's not creating employment. You're just filling in vacancies. Creation of jobs meaning creating new things which are not there. That's why creation means creating out of nothing. If you share equal, ever maiba na to creating chito. Mwila yumfot na mpange nchito. You've just employed. Employment is not creation of employment. If what you look such a creating chito. In other words, inchito shitashiriko tukashipanga. Because we've seen opportunities where you are not seeing it with your UPND. That's the problem, Mukwete. It's the same thing with the doctors. Huh? And anyway, which comes first? Isukulu na nguku ingisha doctor nchito. Na nguku ingisha teacher nchito. Because those schools wako mule tumaba teacher. Ni wakuli, ni mwebo. I haven't seen a school built in the UPND. I haven't seen a hospital built in the UPND. So you're using the infrastructure. Ewa mikuli ile kwa banenu. Mule tasha. Mweba tiye ture ingisha nchito bature wabika ma hospitals. Awa kuli ni wambi. Efo chifuiro kuba. Nga mwatasha tuweba tu at least wachita knowledge aba nabo. Efo ya mabola. Ma politics haya. Mwatasha yako once in a while. So, ama retirees, I'll tell you something. I have information today, Brighton, that today ama retirees zabalepo kama 400 kwacha kunap sanefi ashala. They are being told tabakaleba pela umufundo as long as walepo ka 400 kwacha kunapsa. Elo pakuba pele ndalama kama wachita produce voters card. Are you going to tie in sala ya abantu muchalo kuli voters card? What is this government trying to do with people's voters cards? We are investigating this matter and I shall speak to the nation about it when I have full facts. But I'm telling the government, umuntunga linensala, don't go and tie ulufumo nensala ya muntu panganda to a voters card. Umufunda tatu wakupele because last year tuwa votere. What has voting got to do nensala? Mukwate kwa mano, aya kwa David, wisdom. Insala ka pondo. Huh? Insala ka pondo. Ona kachita visiting almost every household muni chinochalo. Imamwisa mutampi ati yonga tite produce voters card. Tatu wakupede umufundo. Tatu wakupede social cash transfer. Mulei ya vantune nsala. Kwa tenkolu se. Tefe tuika la mchalo hivi. Te utungulu shuwo yo. That's the kind of leadership I'm against. Bashibahati. Alama plan to kwete. Kamolimbi waka njite. vakambweshe futi kunova Radio Christian Voice pantunga mwayo ati nande muli 5 minutes imina nasu pawira fe but mwalamu na kwa tafikweni ama plani ichi monwa vision inatukwata twalile mbane fitabo ifo kumyebo fotukesa michitira mu Zambia. But just remember the 2 mantras I started with. 1, when Zambians prosper, Zambia prospers. Number 2, every youth must be at school or at work. Tulefwa yanga tuambo kweba tusende bonse abena chalo tulendera chapamo. China muntu munchito yakwe na talanta lesamu pela afuire okuchita prosper. Nokukwata enough money ukufeeding a family yakwe. That is our philosophy as Zambia must prosper. Ifo for tulefwa gwisa chinja mchalo. Mukabe pushe ba UPND economic policy yabo. Mukabe pushe manifesto yabo yabashani inensha imona. And I was talking Kumunandi Kateka before Tatulafmamu Alliance. I was talking to him one-on-one. Takwa policy. Takwa economic agenda. You cannot have an economic agenda just to dismantle the debt. Ngafia pena. Especially ama conditions in Gayaka Kana. What are you going to do? Mufule mwakata plan A, plan B, plan C. As a nation, mwaishibofo mulefo ukuta ntikaswa dichalo chike seba wino. Nakula na the fact you not quite economic plan, 10-point plan, not what quite definite. Which 10-point plan imwe? So if a plan not kwata bash bahati, kwate ni itetekelo, twala indel chapamo, tien tuamba ni chibusa na totel.
Right, Mr. President, in about 2 minutes, how do you wrap up today's program? Realizing that we have to wind up at 10:57.
I've enjoyed the program, Raj. I've enjoyed the interaction with the people. I've enjoyed the callers. I know some of them are paid vuvuzelas, but we know these things, so we just listen. Mm-hmm. But for me, I want to assure the Zambians that Zambia must prosper is a political party with a vision, a political party with new leadership, with leadership that is not going to be saying tutampio kaka abantu as a fight to corruption. No, we must all clear the table and start afresh. If we need to reconcile the nation, unite the nation, but we must be also very clear that we must allow every Zambian to prosper on merit, not on tribal lines, not on political lines, or any other faction that you can use, on merit. If we can agree on that, I'll be able to say then Zambia is going to be a prosperous nation. MKI.
We'd like to appreciate you for coming through, Mr. President. We've come to the end of our program. Coming up is news at 11. Then we'll have lifestyle thereafter. Enjoy the rest of our programming and God richly bless you. Keep listening into Radio Christian Voice. Catch me on Backpage tomorrow from 11 to 13. God bless.
When justice